Is this too aggressive to connect straight down? People absolutely are going to just like fly off into the water. Hey guys, Wheatywaffle here today, and we are back in City Skylines 2 playing our city of Second City, and the new patch just dropped. I will say I am noticing a little bit of frame rate issues, but I'm so excited that we've got our wide key with the 4-lane road and our medium key with the 2-lane road. Okay, so there's that key wall. Now what I'm excited about is with these key walls, you can now, if I go to road services, we've always been able to put grass on this, you know, kind of interior side, but now we can put grass on the exterior side as well. Oh man. Oh man. Now the question is like, do I upgrade a bunch of keys on camera, or do I spare all of you that hardship? Because that is going to take me a minute. Let's see, what other areas do we have some key walls? Like this is all key walls on a rail line, so that's not something I want to mess with. That's actually flat there. This is all rail lines over here. We do have some pedestrian paths with key walls over here, which I do think they did add in as well, but they did not add in, like we have a pedestrian street. These are just narrow keys with pedestrian paths. Right along here, it looks like we do have another 4-lane road that we could upgrade. It does make it slightly larger, but I'm not mad about that. I think that extra height is probably, or extra size is probably a good thing. Bring that all the way to there. Now I will say it does kind of highlight that there's this strange hill here. All of this might just need to be a plain flat road. Yeah, at this point, I think it just goes back to being a regular road. The hill's too intense. Then we're going to just go ahead and just slap in a little bit of grass. I think that'll look nice. We don't really need it, but I don't want it to look terrible. And then over here, we can't tree on this side. We can tree on this side. Just wasn't working over there. All right, so let's do this. Let's see if we can figure out what tree that is. It looks like it might be the birch, and I'm going to say in this height. Nailed it. Then let's also grass the whole thing. Someone did leave a comment that I don't have enough like grass and trees along the roads. And actually, I think you're right. It's just one of those things that I wish there was an option to turn it on and then I could just build a road with it. I would prefer to have like a totally different selection. Like I could click on the road and then like 3 roads pop up with grass, with trees, with... I understand like that's not going to happen, but... that would be ideal. I wish that this one wasn't this. I love this here on the corner. Anyway, what I do want to focus on today, in the last part, we cleared out Blackwood Corner and we built out our new Blackwood Mines area over here, which is great. I am going to go ahead and get rid of the district of Blackwood Corner. We don't need it anymore. And let's check on the pollution. I have a feeling the pollution over here is still terrible. It's horrendous. So what I'm thinking is, let's not do anything with this area just yet, because we're letting that pollution die down. We're letting that area get nice and what? Not healthy again. Depolluted. It's just going to get less pollution. Let's go ahead and work on kind of this area. This has been this dead space this whole time, but now that we have some key walls, I think we can make a really nice path going all the way along this side here and just start to figure out what this section looks like. So I am going to go ahead and delete both of these farms. It's going to be a few jobs there, I know. And then I also think I'm going to delete woodland. Well, we'll keep woodland itself, but I want to get rid of all the zoning that's over here. That's going to start to disappear. Let's now see, I mean, how bad is the hilling over here? Not terrible. It really isn't terrible. I think the area that's got the biggest issue is right here where we have this huge hill. But if what we do is this, if we bring this out far enough, then we start that smooth process, we can kind of get away with it. Now, we've got a lot of power lines going on over here, and I think we could probably simplify that a little bit. We have this section here where it loops around. I don't necessarily think that's needed. We could get away with deleting these power lines. It might cause some power issues just in the moment. 180 is right here, and we send it straight on over and connect it right up and in. I wonder if, pause, I wonder if it would be better for me to, because these houses are going out of here, let's actually reimagine this whole little section. Because I don't necessarily want the power to go along this riverfront. Now that we know we want to do some expansion over here and use that riverfront, let's send the power lines kind of along the back of the farms. Then we come back through and we get rid of this power line here, which I think connects all the way up and over. If I hit play, it should send the power right down here. Yeah, just readjust it. Okay, now we do have this additional transformer station. Let me keep it paused here. So this is going around to get out of the city and go down there. We're pushing that power line back, but then we do have a transformer station here we want to access. I'm going to make the argument that because this area is now so highly developed and so dense, that we're going to want to actually move this power line underground. I think this power line now goes underneath of Front Street. We basically take it all the way along Front. There is something here blocking its ability to go this way. But if I turn off all the snap twos and we put on a curve, I think I can curve it around. Right. And then connect it back up and in. And then if we hit play, we should see power going all the way through there, at least getting to this transformer station. Whether or not it continues down is irrelevant to me. But now we've got the power kind of looping all the way around, opening up this whole section here, which is perfect. Finally, that death wave does seem to have died down too, which is great. Okay, we did have a building burn down, which means we're going to need to address fire over here too at some point. And what I'm realizing is that Keats Industrial, as great as it is, I didn't really leave any opportunity. Look at that mining truck. Oh, that's cool. I didn't really leave any opportunity for connectivity from this side over to this area. So I think we're going to need to retrofit some of Keats to begin building out this section. Let's go ahead and lay in a quay wall along the water's edge. In the spirit of making this like a walkable city, I do think I want to use the pedestrian paths. I don't think I want to do anything with roads. If we just had this right here and it started to curve over this way, I think I want to do like a little bit of a complex curve here, and we'll bring it around. For now, it'll stop right there. How do we feel about that? I feel as though if I were to come in with a small little brush, I might be able to fix, I was going to say fix some of this sandy color, but I think in reality, I'm just making this way worse. I think we got to rework this. I wanted to do a pedestrian path, but now I'm looking at it, I'm realizing, one, over here, we have a pedestrian path along this whole edge here, right? Which is beautiful and lovely, but we don't actually have any quay wall section where a car can just drive along the quay wall. So I think we're actually going to change this. Let's change this into a 2-lane, and I'm not going to be able to upgrade this because they're two totally different type of networks. So let's just drag this up to here, drag that to there. Okay, you know what? We're gonna leave snap to shoreline and snap to 90-degree angles on, and then we're gonna do a continuous kind of curve. Keep it looking nice and smooth. I do think I have to move this bridge section, and for now, we're just gonna delete this bridge. Let's connect to existing geometry there, and just send this all the way up the side of this river. And we get to about here, and then we're gonna stop. I don't yet know where that's gonna go there, but let's see. Oh, that looks, first of all, not only does that look way nicer, but that was so easy to build. Holy cow. Okay, big fan of how this is working out already. That was so simple. Now, can we get this underneath? Oh my gosh, we can. Nearly. There's one post right there in the way, and I don't want to have to delete that. So what if I sent this over like this? Then we sent that over. Then it just becomes a regular 2-lane road with a curve. I do need to do a little bit of editing of this section though. But I think if we take this height, we can just get rid of all of this. Smooth out some of these not ideally flat areas. Okay. Now we've got a key wall that goes all the way along that, and now we can really start building out this area. So let's see, how easy is it going to be for me just to reconnect this guy to this guy? Is that simple enough? It is. We went right over top. We love it. I almost want to make this a more ornate bridge now that we've got, well, there's not really any new ones I want to use, but I just feel like this could be a better bridge than what it is. Like, what if I went from here to here and we try to build a bridge for this? It does turn it into a 4-lane road, but considering we're about to make this into a much larger area, having a 4-lane road might actually be a good thing. Let's try to make this somewhat equidistant. Okay. Then the question is, do we actually, this is perfect. This is already a 4-lane road. We may need to move this firehouse, but we should be simple enough able to upgrade this into a 4-lane road. Anarchy's off and it fits perfectly. Look at that. We didn't even have to do anything special. Okay. That's going to inform this new area. So this here is going to be a 4-lane. This is going to be a 4-lane. Let's turn on our topography and let's figure out where this 4-lane road goes. Get rid of this old remnant. This has been here for forever, but I don't think we need it. But like, what if we went straight a little bit further? That's not at the 180. Right about there. And then using this curve here, let's follow this curve. And then we can curve back a little bit, but I think that'll be a sharper turn when we curve back. Okay, so it sends you out that direction. Great. Now, this right here is an easy connection. This is just going to be, turn on topography for this, just going to come down straight. There's going to be some hills in this area. That is just going to happen. All around, though, like, I think it's a workable hill for sure. So then what I want to do is I want to think about how to make this feel kind of like an extension of this density in certain parts, but then also begin to fade into a little bit more suburban style homes. So to do that, I think I want to use some of these flatter areas. I think what I want to see is I want to see, you know what? Here's how we'll do this. I want to expand this out enough that we can clearly have a path in between these areas. So let's see. That's a bit too far. If we were to bring this out at one... Let's just send it right down the middle here. If we took this out at 120, does that give me what I want? Yes. And there's a clear area in the middle there where there could be a path. All right, so this is going to come over to here. I don't really know what the length of that is, but that's okay. We'll send this out at an angle. Then I think we mirror that over here. We want to make sure we come out 120, which is right to here. Connect here at the 90, which gives us this little strange moment. But you know what? This is kind of the fun here. Let's use this. Let's upgrade. This will go this way. This will go this way, and this will go this way. Little strange roundabout. Why not? Two interesting little intersections there. I'm not mad about it. For this, we will just send this straight down because again, we're still kind of leaving the densest city area. So we're going to want to have some dense zoning over here. And then here, I think what we're going to do is go straight across at 120. We're going to leverage this kind of curve here to our advantage. Because then look, we got that huge hill, which we don't want to deal with. So we're going to curve like this. Can we just go straight into here at 180 and that looks decent enough? Yep. So this can be trees, this could be something, but it's just not going to work as something we zone. What if we just sent this straight on through at the 90? Here in the front, it could be more rigid, and then behind it, it could be a bit more sparse. If I brought this from 90, 90, can I reach 90 with this? Here we go. Trying to leave some space for some additional pathing. I think this road, we would want to have this come all the way through. But I think I'd want to connect it from here where I can get this at 90, 90, which would be a little bit too far over. If I moved it to there, that's too far to that side. Yeah, we'll do it. I don't mind that. I think that these areas may benefit more from an alleyway. Because again, remember, we're still working in like a dense part of the city. We haven't yet totally migrated over to suburbia yet. I'm going to want this to be in line with this. So let's lay this one down first. Right here in the center. Then let's use that to curve this into here. Does have a strange little missing section there. We'll have to fix that. This can have, it's a lot of intersections. But you know what? I think what we do, we leave all the intersections, but we start removing some of these extra crosswalks. If you're going straight on through, you can go straight on through. Your crossing is here, here, or here. And then in this particular intersection, you can go either direction. That we can get rid of as well. That looks a little bit better. Over here, it's all fine. I don't mind any of that. We're kind of like using the landscape to our advantage here. Okay, so then I think this area here can be trees. You're close to the highway intersection, so it's not really conducive to too much movement there, but I think we need an access down into here somewhere. And this is a serious hill. What if this road here, which again, this area, I know say this every time, this needs to be reworked. We're going to figure out how to make that look not so horrendous. All right, what if I were to curve this like this and we were to go down underground? To there. To there. But then at this point, we want to come back up. It's only a 12% grade change, which is not bad. But now you have an access point down into the industrial area. I want a second one, though, over here. We'll start to curve this over this way. I don't know how that's going to connect yet. We're going to leave it. Also, just realized by accident, if I'm moving around the map and I hold shift, I move faster. Did not know that. Now I think we've got to figure out how to connect these two together. We're going to have trees all along here around the side of the highway. We'll have trees all along here. We might need some additional path work back there, but let's figure out this road network right here. It's relatively flat, all things considered. And we do have kind of this section here that is straight, where the avenue is straight. So if I were to come from here and go to 120, send it right on over at the 90, we'll connect right up here at the top. Do the same thing again. We definitely can fit a second row of this. I do think there's not going to be high density in these two blocks. This is where we're going to start to break into single family home. We might do that here as well, but like definitely like along here is going to be medium density compact housing. Maybe then we'll have some row homes, and then we'll start like around this area where these two rows roads change direction. They're not perfectly parallel. I think that's probably a good point to start going even lower down in terms of density. Now I'm realizing we're not really connected at all to this key. There's an entrance here, but that's it. Is this too aggressive to connect straight down? People absolutely are going to just like fly off into the water. We're going to do like a little switch back for this area. It's not going to be this big thing. There we go. It's not perfect right there, but that's okay. I don't mind the bump. But then this here, here's where it's at. Here's where it's at. Because now this curve is going to connect in. And because you have that switchback, it's just a smoother connection in there. I like that a lot. Oh. Serialized system. And the game just crashed. Okay, it looks like the only two things we're missing here are a switchback and this one road connection here. So it's not terrible. Let's just go ahead and get these two re-added into here. Now I wonder if... I'll get a little bit more road work done right over in here. And then I think we can start to do some zoning, which is going to look real nice. Let's send this up at 120, 90. Turn this off. We want 120 meters. Send this straight on out. This might cause a slight backup along the road at some point, but we'll survive. This is going to come straight on over. This hill is not that big. And then I think along here, we're going to maybe do a curve right along here. Send it straight for a moment. And actually, send it straight for a little bit longer. And then right here, we're already kind of in a position to head on down and just connect right into the key wall without having to have a switchback. That's just a much steeper hill over there. Okay, so then I think we can send this out also at 120. Maybe not. Can we do 120 somewhere else? Right there is 120. Great. So then here we'll do another straight connection right through here. But use this as our guide. That's straight. This is straight. Get rid of this secondary street and reconnect this in here. And then we'll leave this open for the moment. Something might go there. Okay, I think that looks pretty good. So then let's try to figure out how this is going to work. I think in the central area here of this section, we're going to want to have some more higher density stuff. And by that, I don't mean it needs to be huge, but I do want to have some larger buildings. And I think I want to do just regular standard low rent. I wouldn't even mind if it was like a really tall building, but I kind of want it to be here on the corner. So let's do this. Let's do a 4x5. That's not that bad in terms of height. What's a 5x5 look like? That's not that bad in terms of height. Okay, we're going to let those build in. I'm realizing now while I'm looking at that, I do need to make an adjustment because we don't have a connection for our public transit in any means. We have a station here, but there's no station over here. There's one that goes down this way. What I think we want to do is actually have a mirroring subway line. So we have a subway line that goes here and comes down, but then it crosses over and goes this way and it splits. I almost think this comes up this way and then reconnects in over here somewhere. Or we need to consider a subway that goes like through and connects into this yellow line. Or do we just bring out a train over this way? I almost want to, I know we tried this once before, but I almost want to take this train line and bring it over this way. The problem is it's a huge change in height. I mean, that is a hill. Okay. I think I want to make a change to our subway network. So I think we pull from here. Let's see if we can do this. If I come over here and I grab onto this subway line right here and we cross right underneath the water. We can give it a nice curve, nice long curve, just like this. because we're already underground here. So there's no sense in trying to pull it up to ground level if we're not there yet. But we have a hill here. So what's going to happen is this is going to go. Here we go. This is going to go right over to here. How high can we get this? Yes, just like this. At the 180, bam. Then we keep coming up to ground level. Send it straight out. Now we're outside. Now we're up, right? We're higher up. We'll then send this subway, I think, over to right here. And right here will be a subway station that can service most of this. Because if you're driving, you can just drive over the bridge. But then we'll have a subway station here that can then continue out that direction. Okay, hold on. This is it. So we're going to use the topography to our advantage here. Let's do this. Then we're basically going to get a curve going. Right there. Do we have an additional subway station here? I don't think we do. I think we remove this subway station. I think that's going to be decommissioned. And there's going to be a bus that moves you from this subway over to here. So here, let's do this. I actually just want to completely delete this line. I'm even going to get rid of all this connection that we have. I don't think we need it. It's not coming back. Let's clean it up a little bit if we're not using it. And if we are using it, we can, if we need it in the future, we can reimagine how it would look. We have a subway line that already goes to here. So either this could be the transfer station, this could be the transfer station, or we could bring it over to here. This already has 2 stations on it. So I think for now, just for the sake of keeping this easy, let's do, it's like a purple. Let's go from here over to here. And for now, it's going to look so small. It's going to be like, why did we make a whole subway line just for this? But eventually, this is going to be much larger. And then this will come right back. So I know it doesn't look like much now because there's only one stop on this subway. But we're going to use this subway as almost a regional rail because all of our train infrastructure faces this way. So this can all have trains. But for a little bit here, we'll have an elevated subway that goes out this direction. Or at least ground level subway that goes out that direction. And yeah. This is great. This is going to be great. All right, do you have any vehicles? You have 1 vehicle, 3 employees, 1 line, which has 1 vehicle on it. Okay, yep. So now we've got a subway station right here. Let me go ahead and, do we give this area a district? Is this all one big district? Or is it some smaller districts broken up? Maybe we use the subway line as kind of our dividing line, right? So like if we were to take this over this direction, we send it along this crazy road with this little roundabout, and then we can just kind of match to what we already have over here. Connect this to here, connect this to here. So now we have Amberwood, which is the suburb right next to, there we go. It's a much larger district than the others, but these are all in the heart of the city, whereas this is, we're starting to get out of the city a bit. And then this over here, it can really just take whatever name. I'm not going to get too pressed about it. What do we got? Valley Gardens. That's fine. All right, so this is Amberwood. This is going to be the Amberwood subway station. And then before we can go further, I need to think about adding a few other things here. Now, this is an underground subway interface. Bring an underground subway platform to your station with a separate entrance. What? There's above ground and below ground? Oh, man, I didn't know that's how that worked. I might need to go back and change one of our change one of our things. Okay, let's go ahead and give this a platform roof. It's a brand new station. It's going to have this gorgeous new roof. We love that. Now let's figure out how we get some people over here. But before we can do that, I think let's actually first build out some more of this road infrastructure. I would like another bus depot. This is going to be a relatively loud area, I can imagine, but I wouldn't mind this being kind of tucked away somewhere where it's not going to interfere. We do have all of this industrial area back here, which would make sense to try to sneak this in. You know what? I hate this section, and I think I know exactly what needs to go here instead. Get rid of all of these businesses. Get rid of Elk Lane and get rid of that curve for the moment. Let's place this here. Get rid of this section of Lafayette Street and instead send it up just like this. We're going to go with the straight tool here. And we're just going to connect right up and in. Now we have a brand new station. We're going to give it electric buses. And I am going to give it an extended garage if I can fit it. We can't. We can't fit it. Of course we can't. We could do them here if we wanted to. So maybe what we do is actually, hold on. Nope. We can fit one right there. So just place an extended garage there. Now we have 35 vehicles right here. I think that's a much better use of this section anyway. And then for now, we're just going to have a very simple bus route that is going to come over to here. There will be a bus stop right here in the center of this area, allowing you to get to kind of all these businesses. The bus will take you over to here. There'll be a stop right here on this side road, servicing all these businesses. And this will actually have 2 bus stops on it. Then you come over to this way. There will be 2 bus stops right here. Then you come up into here. There will be... What way is the roads? You go this way? Okay, so there'll be 1 stop here and 1 stop here. Or instead of those, there's 1 stop here and 1 stop here. We can put a path right there. Yeah, I don't think these are necessary. Not yet, at least. And for now, that might be the connection. I know it's simple. It's pretty small. But if you were to go to from here, and you were to come down this direction and connect over to here, we're now able to service this entire downtown area, this entire industrial area, with this bus. And it kind of makes up for us having moved our subway station. Now, I don't love like all of this. I would rather this use this route. Like, let's try to stay on that road. I understand the need to do this. That's fine. All right, so now let's get some more people moving over here into Amberwood. So we have 2 low rent houses. They are totally full with households. I think I could get into just a few more. What if we did this here and we built 2 more low rent houses? We switch over to medium density and let's see what we get here. If I were to do just a row of medium density houses right there. Already working for me. Already working for me. Already working. Right here, again, medium density. I think we can get rid of that. And what we can do is where we see the zoning stop, that's what can help us figure out where these paths should go. Now, I don't want the paths to snap to the side of the building. And I also don't want the paths to force snap to the road. So we'll go like this. Maybe get rid of that option. There we go. So that just puts a little bit more zoning back over here. Right here, I think we can do the same thing. We can do a line that comes right along the back here, just like that. Gives us an extra tile of zoning there. I think we are going to want a parking lot down here. It's going to fit perfect, so why would we not? Let's do that. And then right here, I think we want to have some businesses. You're nearing this tree line here. Let's do some northeast. Oh, this is mixed use. I almost want to push the buildings along Magnolia Street. I think it's just going to look nicer. So let's key wall this. Fine with me. And then right here, we can do some medium density northeast businesses. Or just not medium density. Low density northeast businesses. Let's see what we get. There are two of exactly the same, which I don't love that. Because now we just have this open dead space in the middle. But what we can do is remove that cover there. Maybe this gets a little park. We have that, hold on. We have that windy park. This guy, which is actually still too big. I always think this space is smaller than it is. Or the park is smaller than it is. Like really all I can work with are these parks. And this is so not what I was imagining here. But this would fit right there. What is this? Skylines Heritage Museum? If we were to put this right here, it would fill that whole space. And have like this unique building feel to it. Okay, I like that. I like that. Now I am going to do some of this, you know, adding a little bit of the surfaces here and there. Like this area here, I think all that would be concrete. This museum is now right next door to this parking lot, which I think would have a connection directly to it. We've got a lot of the same building here, but that's okay with me. As long as those two are not two of these, and it's not going to look too terrible. And these will continue to upgrade and get a bit taller, which is going to look nice. Now I think right along here, along Magnolia Street, we absolutely want businesses all along here. Let's just cut this off and force a bunch of business here. Or we could look at doing northeast mixed use housing because this area is meant to be... Is this mixed use? No, this is just regular residential. Okay, yeah, we'll do some mixed use housing here. I am going to probably force some of this to work though. No, well, they're still zonable. That's a 2-tile piece, so we could fit another one right there. That's fine. And then maybe right here we do like a small little park. That would be perfect. We need a 3x3 size park though. So it's definitely going to be over here. This might work. What is this? Tiny city park or small park? Small park's too big. And then all this just gets... Oh, well, actually, small playground. The dog park just doesn't fit. There's that weird circle thing. The activity playground would fit, but I just think that seems strange. Maybe this little area. Do we have like a small post office? It would knock down that building, but there could be a small post office. Or better yet, there could be police and fire. This is the USA Police Station. What is this building? UK Police Station. Oh, interesting. We might build that somewhere else. The police station's a little bit larger than I thought it would be. That would work perfectly right here on this corner, though. As you're coming into this area. We've got a dead person there. All right, so we have the inverse of this is right over here. We're just going to pretend that it doesn't look like that. I think we go ahead and we limit the zoning along this road. So that we now have everybody living here on Hickory. I do want to bring that height, I think, back down a little bit. But what if we did this? What if we were to give just one real large mixed-use building right there? And then after that mixed-use building, we switch over into medium-density housing, and we just fill in, let's see, heights look pretty decent. I'm fine with that. Then right across the street here, this is where we're going to start having some row homes. I think we just do regular base game row homes. That's just no, we can't. That's just a path right there. If that was an alley, we could fit some row homes there. But I think this is kind of where we're starting to get those larger row houses. I wanted to switch it up a little bit, and we've done so many small row houses that, like, what if we did come through and we just did a bunch of really spacious row houses over here in Amberwood. Now, hold on. You have all this land, and you're going to build these tiny little houses? Get out of town. I'm fine with those. That one's a little small. That one's not a big deal. But the little 2x2 is just too small. Let me add some trees right to this central area here. And let's just see how that makes the rest of this area feel. I think we just need a little bit of trees to actually have it come to life. Hold on. I did end up getting the exact same building again. We're just going to leave it alone. It is what it is. There are some dead people over here we haven't been able to solve yet, so we need to build out a new crematorium, but I think that's going to work just fine. Now let's see. Is anybody using this subway? At the moment, we've got 11 passengers waiting, which is very exciting. 12 passengers on this train. How many people are waiting over here? 12 passengers are waiting at the next stop, and we already have another passenger waiting at this subway station. 13 and 2 pets? We'll take it. 14 2 pets? It's perfect. Let's do a lot more of this row housing. I just think that's what's going to be predominantly in this area. Let's do all that as row housing. We got to wait for all this to zone in. All of this we can just go ahead and do as row housing. We know what that's going to be. And then all this can also just be row housing. Oh, this is all this way. That's why that doesn't work. There we go. So more row housing there. All of this here, we need to get some row houses going. So we'll put a collection right there. That zoned in. We can fill this one. Then we can fill this one. These are nice and large, spacious row homes, which is what people have been asking for. All right, so all that's zoning in. Great. Is there a space right there? No. So that means that definitely needs a path right to here. But then I think what we do is we do this. We connect from this side here over to here. Now I think before we go any further with more zoning and then lose all of our space, we got to consider all the services that are going to be needed over here. We definitely need some type of healthcare and death care. And I think Amberwood would be a great place to have another hospital. We only have one hospital in the city, and it's over here in the downtown. But I would love to have like another hospital that services kind of all of this section somehow. So let's see what we've got here in terms of options. We have an EE hospital, a large city clinical hospital, building based on real hospital in Belarus. All right, it is 700 patients, 30 ambulances. What's the size? It's got a nice size. And it kind of, ooh, that looks nice. Okay, hold on. That could be a great choice, especially with some of these larger areas here. Like we could flatten things out and have this in here. We'd have to get rid of a number of roads. It nearly fits here. It says it's overlapping something, but I don't know what it is that it's overlapping. Oh, there's a power line in there. Okay, so that's an option. We already did the modern hospital, I believe. This hospital does not make sense for this area. The USA Southwest Central. General one, this one's so bright, I'm not a fan. Urban Medical Center, UK Hospital, Germany. No. This hospital? No. French hospital? Not it. China's People's Hospital. This is a bit smaller and could fit nicely. Or the Japanese hospital, which is much smaller, could also fit really nicely. I mean, that would look really good right here. We could put some parking on the one side, or this could even kind of be in this more downtown area. Is it too many large buildings near each other? I don't, you know what? Now that I'm saying that, I don't think it is. I think this could look really good right here. We've got a new hospital over here. Any upgrades? Health Check Center. Patient capacity 200 goes on top. I say we do it. All right, so now we need to do death care, though, because that seems to be a consistent problem. We still only have like 4 options here. The problem with the parish churches is so expensive. The problem with this is it's so big. But because we're over in this area, I think it's time to do one of these again. We only have one in the city so far. It wouldn't be able to fit in here without destroying a lot of roads, which I don't want to do because I like how those roads have laid out. I like this being grass. We could try to squeeze it in over here and change, what is that, Amity Street? But it feels like everything's just getting too bunched together. So I don't want to do it right there. Now, if we turned off Snap to Road, this could also go somewhere like this. And then you come off of that intersection, that roundabout. Oh, no. At least the back of that does not look nice. What if we just move it forward? What if I move it to here? Does that kind of solve some of that problem? Somewhat. You can't really tell that there's a huge cliff behind it. And I think if we were just to give it a touch of smoothing, it does kind of fix it somewhat. All right, let's do that, and then let's place a road right here. It's just going to be small for now. It also gives us a use for the full roundabout, which I think is helpful. Now I got to figure out the schools. Now there's already probably a ton of people here in Amberwood. How many people live here? 2,580. Not all of them are children, which is useful, but we do have a number of people who are poorly educated or uneducated. So we're going to need a decent sized school over here. I wouldn't mind starting to, maybe we do a city school and then we do a suburban high school. Let's do the city elementary school. I know we use it a ton, but it does what we need. Is it too many buildings here that all have service use? This kind of continues that height over this direction. Or we place this here. Yeah, I think we place that there. Let's just set the operating district right now to Amberwood. Nowhere else. When we're ready to add in the expansion, we can, but I have a feeling that's going to fill up pretty quickly. Now let's do a high school over here. We want to do, I don't want the city. USA Southwest is very large. How many people can this hold? 1,200. Modern high school can hold even more than that. French high school can hold even more than that. Urban high school, meh. We have the Chinese high school and the Mediterranean high school. There's also the Chinese or the China high school, which I like the size and the shape of that. I think that looks pretty good. That holds 2,000. Oh my gosh. UK secondary. This is kind of more the vibe I was thinking of for this area. And as this begins to shift over into smaller homes, I think this can make a lot of sense over here. What if we were to remove all these roads and had this facing right along here? We'd have to change Magnolia Street behind it, but it would face out into like a grassy park area. And then behind this large building could be single family homes. I think that's what we're going to do. This is why we have to do this now, because if we don't do it now, we're never going to get to it, and then we're going to totally forget and then have to try to retrofit everything, and that's never as fun. Let's place a road along the side here. Send this right over and just do something like that. I want to also set the operating district for this to just these two areas. We'll set this to both here, although I think Valley Gardens will eventually need its own. And then we do have some expansion upgrades here, so we can add additional 50 students or an additional 400 students. We don't need them now, but when we're ready for them, we have those as options. Okay, that's perfect. We've got a little bit of bus going on to go into the downtown. I think having a bus that crosses over could be valuable too. What if there was a bus line that came from kind of around this area? There's a lot of infrastructure right here. We've got a tram, we have the Maple Street line bus, and we have the Sheffield Sierra Hill bus. So we could take a bus from here and send that over across the river here and just bring it down Amberwood. What is this main road called? Whatever this main street is. Fox Hollow Street. Oh, you know what? That's the name of this. And then let's actually rework this, because I think if we're going to have an area where 3 different buses are all kind of meeting each other, I think we should have a small bus station over here to accommodate that. I don't think we need a large one. That seems like maybe overkill. So what if we were to do this? It's overlapping something. What are you overlapping? Apparently that road all the way over there. I can place you there, a little bit off the road. I'm fine with that. Let's try to set this up. So instead of this going here, what does that look like if it goes here instead? They just come down that road instead. Well, you know what? They aren't even stopping anywhere along this road, so I don't think that's a big deal. And that's the only stop it has here, then it stops down that way. Oh no, we have this stop here. If I move this to here as well, then we got to anarchy this in here, but we place another another bus stop over here. We move this bus stop to here. That one's just been decommissioned. Now a lot of traffic is going to be on that road, but that's okay. This guy is then going to move up here. And this guy is also going to move up here. We've decommissioned those two stops, but not actually changed anything. Let's get rid of all of these unneeded stops. And we'll get rid of this one. We gotta use anarchy for this. Bam. Now we can consider a third bus to come from here. So let's see. If you're going to start here, it's going to then come up this way and go across this bridge over here into Amberwood. The very first stop will be right here, right there at the very entrance of this area. It's then going to, honestly, I think just come down this direction. It's going to stop right here. Then we're going to take this. We'll skip these 2 blocks. We'll stop here. We'll skip these blocks. We'll stop here near this school. We'll figure out a way to turn around. And then it's going to come back and essentially do the same thing. We'll stop here. We'll stop here. And we'll also stop right here. Heads right back on over and in. Okay. Let's make this line. We have like what is that? Like a lilac color there. And we have a red. Let's make this more of like yellowy orange color somehow. Okay, there we go. I like that. All right, so this is going to start right here. If I can reach it. Nope, not there. Start right there. Cross over this bridge. Come all the way over to here. Connect here. Here. Here and here. And then we loop right back around. And head on out. And that way they now have connection basically to the whole city. Between the subway and this bus transfer station, they've got access to everything. Now, I am going to add in a service station here. And I'm going to add in the taxi stop into the back. That way this just becomes a much more valuable interchange. And now we're going to start getting people moving around here. Now, why does this road go in? Oh, because we have this area up here. It's like, why does it do this weird loop? All right, how's this subway moving? We've got 1 person waiting, but the subway just picked up 30 people, and there's 8 people waiting at the next one. That is fantastic. Let's finish out these 2 squares here, and then I think we're going to end this section afterwards and let you guys tell me what you think of this kind of new area we're building. I want to make sure I've thought of everything before I go too ham on the building. The only downside to this road, though, is that it's curved. The curved roads are the worst. I wouldn't mind mixed use. Let's do northeast, and let's see what we have. And we want to snap to road for sure. I'd love it to be, I don't know, like a depth of at least... What's the depth of 3 look like? That's not a bad building. Slap that one down. These are all the same level for now. That's just the opposite direction. Kind of looks like it is the backside of the school, which is pretty neat. All right, all these are the same. This is a little small. Little too tiny. Do we have any 4 deeps? We do. Ooh, we have a double wide. This could look nice right here. We'll extend that surface, and then that kind of solves that problem. And then this could go in the middle. It's not a lot of height right now, but it will be as it all continues to grow. So I think that works out pretty well. Now, right here, I think I do want to have another low density building or low rent building, just because it does give us pretty good height. If I were to go like this, Let's get another low rent building in here. And then maybe what we do is we do one more square of office. But now we've kind of left, once you get past this intersection of Edgewater Street, now you're kind of getting out of this higher density area, and this is all going to just drop down to a much smaller size. All right, let's do this. Fix this surface. I think this surface here, we can also just drag to match the neighboring surface. I think the same can happen here. We bring this back just like that. There we go. Now I have a little path there. Now I'm just going to slap down tons of trees. Let's just fill in the empty spaces. I don't know if any other buildings are going to fit kind of in these spots. There we go. All right, I think this is kind of the beginning of Amberwood. In the next part, I want to continue to expand out these row homes and just start sending the row homes, I think, kind of all through this area, even into Fox Hollow. And then we'll have some type of park here. And after the park and after the school, we then start getting into those single family homes. Then I think over in this area, we got to figure out the post office. We never did that. Or the, not this area, the postal service for the rest of the city, because it does seem like, especially in our higher rise areas, there's just not enough post service going along. So we'll have to figure out that soon. And then we need to figure out how this waterfront looks, because I don't want it to look just like this side over here with tons of parks. I think it's going to be mainly trees, but I don't know. Tell me what you think, too, of this change for our subway system. I think this worked out well. I think it gives us better connectivity. You do have to take a bus now to get down over here, but there are 16 people on this bus. There are 19 people on this bus. So I think that there's already 7 people waiting here for this bus. I think the buses are working. I think that's actually much better. You can get much closer to your office, and it solves the connectivity for this side over here. They did not have decent access, and if you got off the subway, you had to walk all the way around. So I think this is a much stronger play. And our Keats Industrial Port is now no longer just a big cul-de-sac. So we're starting to expand over and reach out into our surrounding suburbs. All right, guys, I think that's where we're going to end this part here. A quick shout out to my channel members. Thanks so much for your support. I really appreciate it. If you're interested in becoming a channel member, click the link in the description below to unlock custom emojis, loyalty badges, early access to videos, save game files, members only content, merchandise discounts, and more. And until next time, leave your questions, comments, and feedback down below, and I will see you guys in the next one.